Melania just made Vatican crowd go wild after she teaches Michelle a big lesson in front of entire world. All eyes were on First Lady Melania Trump as she arrived at the Vatican, especially after Michelle Obama had just been spotted in Italy disrespecting Christian holy sites. Italians were aghast yesterday at Michelle's behavior, but today, as Melania stepped from her vehicle at the Vatican, Italians were cheering. You will be too when you see how she just restored America's dignity in Italy while teaching Michelle a big lesson she won't forget. Italians were aghast yesterday at Michelle's behavior, but today, as Melania stepped from her vehicle at the Vatican, Italians were cheering. You will be too when you see how she just restored America's dignity in Italy while teaching Michelle a big lesson she won't forget. Melania Trump stepped from her vehicle at the Vatican with the president at her side, wearing all black with a beautiful veil on her head as is the custom. Ivanka Trump also wore a veil, looking stunning in black as they met Pope Francis. Melania, who is Catholic, chose the more traditional Spanish-style mantilla veil. Melania was also able to show off her linguistic skills when the Pope struck up a conversation with her in Italian. Ivanka Trump also wore a veil, looking stunning in black as they met Pope Francis. Melania, who is Catholic, chose the more traditional Spanish-style mantilla veil. Melania was also able to show off her linguistic skills when the Pope struck up a conversation with her in Italian. What do you give him to eat? The Pope asked her in Italian, referring to President Donald Trump. He then suggested, potica, which is a Slovenian treat. First Lady Melania reportedly responded with delight and laughed. After their light-hearted exchange, Melania asked the Pope to bless her rosary. The optics of Americans respecting the rules of decent dress was sorely needed after Michelle Obama humiliated herself at a Siena cathedral just the day before. Unfortunately, the world still sees Michelle Obama as an American leader, and she deliberately disrespected the customs and the Christian faith with her postage stamp-sized top which was falling off of her as she walked. The liberal Hollywood Life website weighed in, shockingly agreeing that Michelle's top was all wrong, saying that this look was a little more risque than those we normally see Michelle in, with little strings used in lieu of sleeves to keep the shirt together on her sides. So it is up for debate whether it is the right outfit for Michelle or not. It was a truly cringeworthy scene, and one that the Italians saw as a clear sign of disrespecting Jesus Christ. Anyone who has visited cathedrals in Italy knows about the dress code, and there is no doubt Michelle Obama knew what she was doing as a world traveler. The dress codes are visible at the cathedral doors. Liberal loons are accusing Melania of wearing a veil at the Vatican while she did not wear a hijab in Saudi Arabia. There's a big difference. Wearing a hijab in Islam has everything to do with covering up a woman so others can't see her. It's something they are mandated to do in Islamic countries as women have no rights. Mr. Willie, a BBC fashion critic, was particularly impressed with Mrs. Trump's choice of outfit, where other mainstream media outlets were screeching about her trip to Saudi Arabia and not wearing the hijab. Willie said, "To my eyes, what Mrs. Trump wore was perfect. She was rather elegantly dressed, and totally in keeping with the event. The Trump party, as a whole, observed normal protocol and dress." Melania Trump has gained the love and respect of the Italian people. In her quiet way and with her fashion sense, she showed the world that not all Americans are as uncouth and as unclassy as the Obamas. We owe her a debt of gratitude for representing America in the best possible light, erasing the undignified behavior of Michelle and replacing it with the grace of a Christian mother and wife. We owe her a debt of gratitude for representing America in the best possible light, erasing the undignified behavior of Michelle and replacing it with the grace of a Christian mother and wife. Share this post if you are proud of Melania Trump. What do you think about this? Comment below. This is incredible. Melania Trump is about to make White House history. You will love this. When Melania Trump recited the Lord's Prayer before Melbourne, Florida presidential rally in February, the internet went hog wild. Now we know one reason why the First Lady began with "Let us pray and Our Father who art in heaven" when she introduced the president that evening. She's a practicing Roman Catholic. Melania will be first Catholic in the White House since the Kennedys. Her spokeswoman Stephanie Grisham confirmed that on Wednesday, hours after Pope Francis blessed the rosary for her at the Vatican. The last Catholics to live in the White House were John F. Kennedy and his wife Jackie. Melania and her son Barron will move to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue over the summer. Mrs. Trump did more than just show up for a papal audience. She spent time in prayer at the Vatican-affiliated Bambino Gesù, Baby Jesus, hospital, and laid flowers at the feet of a statue of the Madonna. She also prayed in the hospital chapel and read to a young Greek boy in need of a donor heart, holding his hand in the intensive care unit while camera shutters snapped. The Almighty may have heard her. Upon landing in Belgium, I learned a young boy and his family who had been waiting for a heart transplant was informed that the hospital has found a donor, she said in a statement. I read a book and held hands with this special little one just a few hours ago, and now my own heart is filled with joy over this news. The First Lady later tweeted about the development with the hashtags #blessings and #faith. In another tweet, she sent blessings to all after her papal audience. Mrs. Trump told Pope Francis at the Vatican that she was looking forward to going to the hospital for the Bambinos. She later called the visit very moving. To spend time speaking to and coloring with children who have such a positive spirit despite illness was an amazing gift, she said. The time I spent with the little ones in the intensive care unit is something I will never forget, and I will pray for each of them daily. What do you think about this? Comment below. Ted Cruz goes after Soros and Obama with stunning new investigation. Senator Ted Cruz, along with a few other Republican senators, are going right for the jugular. They're launching an investigation into former President Obama's influence in overseas politics, which was done on the taxpayers' dime and through George Soros' USAID organization. These senators want Secretary of State Rex Tillerson to immediately investigate efforts by Obama administration to sway foreign elections by sending taxpayer funds to extreme and sometimes violent political activists. Free Beacon reports. The lawmakers disclosed multiple conversations with foreign diplomats who outlined active political meddling by the Obama administration's State Department, including the use of taxpayer funds to support leftist causes in Macedonia, Albania, Latin America, and Africa. A portion of the State Department funding appears to have gone to organizations supported by the controversial liberal billionaire George Soros, according to the letter, which was authored by Republican Senators Mike Lee, Utah, Jim Inhofe, Oklahoma, Tom Tillis, NC, Ted Cruz, Texas, David Perdue, Georgia, and Bill Cassidy, Law. The senators are asking Tillerson to launch a full-scale investigation into these funding efforts in order to determine how exactly the Obama administration sought to promote left-leaning causes and political parties across the globe. The latest disclosures of this activity mirror efforts by the Obama administration to send taxpayer funds to Israeli organizations that opposed Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in the country's last election. Political leaders from a range of nations spent months informing the lawmakers about these activities. Over the past few months, elected officials and political leaders of foreign nations have been coming to me with disappointing news and reports of U.S. activity in their respective countries, Lee said in a statement. This includes reports of diplomats playing political favorites, USAID funds supporting extreme and sometimes violent political activists, and the U.S. government working to marginalize the moderates and conservatives in leadership roles. This sort of political favoritism from our missions around the world is unacceptable and endangers our bilateral relationships, he said. Share on Facebook and Twitter if you stand with Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz. IT's official, Ben Carson just made history with his shocking new order. Liberals love a free lunch. Liberals hate working. They would rather have everything handed to them. Not anymore. Donald Trump's Department of Housing and Urban Development, under the direction of Ben Carson, is going to require people to work in order to receive free housing. In Trump's America, we aren't going to allow liberals to freeload. This has been a long time coming. After the Obama era, With all of the government benefits out there, why even bother getting a job or contributing to the economy? With all of these handouts, you'd almost have to be irrational to get a job. Fortunately, this is coming to an end. Under Trump, we are going to restore American values. We are not going to allow the radical left to eat any more free lunches. If you want luxury in America, you will need to work for it. We value hard work in America. Obama's America was very different. Obama loved handing out free stuff. Do you remember his iPhone program? He was giving iPhones to people on welfare. Those phones aren't cheap, which means we were paying for it. The left needs to get their priorities and policies straight. They honestly believe that handing out free stuff is a good idea. Liberals just don't understand the economy. There is no such thing as a free lunch. Society has to bear the costs of the unemployed and the poor. There is no way around that. This is fine to an extent, but work needs to be required for public help. An expensive phone or a nice apartment is a reward for hard work, not an entitlement. Unfortunately, the rhinos are scared to cut these entitlements. They believe their voter base would be upset. Can you believe that? It makes no sense, because Trump has shown the world that the silent majority does not want to pay for a free lunch. We need to replace these rhinos with true conservatives. True conservatives are principled. We don't abandon our convictions for a voter base. This is why we need term limits. This is why we need to drain the swamp. These career politicians are so detached. Meanwhile, the radical left and the corrupt Democrats are strategizing their next move. They are trying to shame the rhinos and the conservatives into abandoning the Trump policies. We aren't going to let that happen. The left is so lost. The liberals just don't know what to do with themselves. You can't tell because the mainstream media is ignoring actual news, like the recent Manchester bombings, in order to spin their bizarre narrative.